Hey everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Blockcast with Simon and Will. Here is my co-host Will. How are you doing today, mate?
I'm doing great. What are we talking about today, Simon?
Yeah, sure. So today we are going to talk not about FTX, which is awesome. We are going to talk about Elon Musk and Twitter, and I guess some of the future plans that seem to be brewing there and what it kind of means for us in the industry. So, Will, you want to give us a breakdown of Twitter and what Elon's doing?
Oh, sure thing. So it started way back, 2017 actually, is when Elon first started flirting with the idea of acquiring Twitter, where he sends out a tweet, and that kind of dies down after a while and no one talks about it. And then come March, we hear news that he has accumulated a stake in Twitter, just 5%, not a big deal for a man of his caliber. Then he mentions in Twitter that a new platform is needed, right? And so that's when people start to think, well, what's really going on here? What is Musk up to? And then the drama starts in April. And that's where there's news about him joining the Twitter board. Then a couple of days later, there's more news that says, no, he's actually not going to join the board. Then a little bit later, he offers to buy the whole platform for $43 billion. Then that's where even more drama starts. He starts tweeting about bots on Twitter, and he says that the number of bots that Twitter reports is in the system, which is normal for any system, is actually higher. And there's all of this back and forth between him and Twitter about the number of bots controlling the system. And eventually there's news of him acquiring Twitter for $44 billion, and Doge coin goes up 35% in a bear market, which is crazy, which makes you wonder, what are these people seeing? You know, what do they expect Musk to do with Twitter, right? And that's where it all starts. And now Musk owns Twitter, but there's a bit of speculation as to what that means and how that's going to affect crypto.
Yeah, sure. So I think the Doge coin and Elon Musk, relationship has been known for quite some time. And I mean, in 2021, there was a very funny trade that people used to do when Elon Musk tweeted about Doge. Everyone would buy Dogecoin because it would pump just based off that. So his relationship is well known. So I guess he now has Twitter. So what's Dogecoin got to do with Twitter going in the future?
Well, maybe not specifically Dogecoin, but Musk has always been a big proponent of crypto. He's been friends with Jack Dorsey, former CEO of Twitter. It's also been well known that Dorsey has frequently tweeted that the platform should be open source. Dorsey has also been very interested in crypto, and Dorsey tweeted that Twitter needed to be a more open system. And he also tweeted that he was working on an open source blockchain system that involved identities. And so there's a really interesting relationship between Musk, Dorsey, crypto, and Twitter. And very recently, Dorsey comes up with this thing called Web 5, which is an interesting catchphrase of including components of Web 3, which is a blockchain, and Web 2, which is what we know. And I guess it's his clever way of creating a new system called Web 5. But he's also spoken about a system called TBDEX, which is an on-ramp for regular users into crypto and a payment system, right? So I think what Elon is going for is something similar to WeChat. So WeChat has done really, really well in China. I believe in 2021, they had $400 billion of money just transferred in this app. And WeChat is just a simple chat platform. And it started out with this simple system of where these users send each other these things called red envelopes. And what they are is just sort of an animation of a red envelope. The user opens it up and it has a gift of money, right? And this is really interesting because in Africa as well, you've got something called M-Pesa, subsidy of Vodafone in East Africa that also works in a similar way. It's very simple, it's bankless, and it allows users to send money between each other without using banks. And that's really, really significant. It's actually crazy. something to the tune of $300 billion is transferred every year in East Africa just on phones without using banks. So I think this is what these Dogecoin were seeing. They thought, well, Elon is acquiring Twitter, is doing all of these crazy things. He's talked about creating an open source system. He has talked about making it a place for free speech. He's letting all of these, we'll call them crusties. So Trump and all of these people that Twitter had banned a couple of months before, he's let them back into Twitter. There's some people who love it and think this is a great idea. There's other people who think, well, this is terrible. Why are you doing this, Musk? Like, what are you really up to?
That's a good question I'd like to ask you then, because Elon Musk is clearly a businessman. He knows how to run businesses, very successful businesses. He's talking about Twitter going open source, Twitter being decentralized, Twitter being similar to WeChat. I guess, what's in it for him? Why would he want to do this?
I think it has to do with, first of all, having a completely open place where everybody can first of all, converse. But not only that, I think what he sees that other people don't see is content. So he's talked about making Twitter more long-form content, allowing people to come in and post videos as well. So I think he's talking about making it much more free, less regulated, and just as long as everybody stays within the law, I think they're allowed to tweet and spread content. But the really interesting thing is what happens when you create a system where you allow content creators of every form. We're talking about long form text, audio as well, video as well, and then you combine that with an economy where people can, say, tip each other. It's amazing. You're creating a marketplace for content where users can reward other users with probably cash, but also crypto as well. Now, the Dogecoin people have gone crazy going, well, it's obviously going to be Doge. But really, what it probably will be is a place where any forms of currency can be sent from user to user, and that's where it links in with Jack Dorsey's Web 5, where everyone has decentralized IDs. Let's call it proof of humanity. I can prove that I'm a human and I have a decentralized ID, and that way you can take care of bots. You can create a system that is totally open. It's a system that lets you create content, share it, and also send money, tip users. It might be really, really big, and it might be great for crypto.
Well, I guess let's lean into that a bit then. So why would it be great for crypto? How does this kind of centralized, decentralized, social media platform, how is that good for crypto?
Well, it's amazing. We've always talked about getting crypto out there and letting the masses use it. And there's been all of these sorts of different projects that have tried to do it. But it's always been a question of, well, we've got this amazing thing called crypto. There's all of these nerds and geeks and dorks who completely love it. But then there's these regular users who completely don't get it. Onboarding is massively difficult. You have to get your ledger, you've got to download a wallet, you've got to do all these crazy things. But these systems haven't succeeded. There aren't enough people using them. But what happens when you get a massive app the size of Twitter with hundreds of millions of users, and then you introduce a wallet into it? That's huge, and there's absolutely no friction. It's not a new app that they have to download. It's something that they've used before frequently. And now all they have to do is just send money to people they already know, money to people who are already in the system. You don't have to tell anybody to get into the system. So it could actually be really big for crypto, and it's possible that not a lot of people see this yet. All they're doing is, I guess, yelling at Musk saying, what are you doing? You're crazy. I think they haven't seen the potential in the hundreds of billions of dollars that are sent in Africa just on mobile apps, in China as well. So let's take that, let's put it on Twitter, and then let's add crypto to the mix. So that could be really, really big.
Yeah. So let's talk about that. You mentioned WeChat before, and I think that's what a lot of people envisage that Elon Musk is trying to turn Twitter into. So WeChat is obviously only in China. It's a social media platform. It's a direct messaging platform with their friends, and it's kind of big point of difference is it's a payment system. Like everyone in China uses WeChat as a payment system, similar to Apple Pay and kind of things like that, except it's using WeChat. And I know they use the Chinese RMB. There's plenty of other currencies that they use. I guess the point of difference that Twitter might actually do is bring in cryptocurrencies. So if that's the vision where Elon Musk wants to go to, he's a businessman again. Let's dig into that. Why does he want to do this? What's in it for him? Where does the user pay his creating all these services for it, do you think?
The first one is fees. You transfer money, there's usually a tiny amount of fees that you can skim off the top. So that's amazing. The second thing, which is really interesting, that I'm not sure whether WeChat does this, but I do know that M-Pesa in Africa does that, which is by Vodafone, is that they have become a total bank. And it lets users borrow money, essentially from Vodafone, for a very short time. And the interest rates are big, but the users don't really notice because the amounts are tiny. So let's say you need to get extra phone credit. Let's say you need to get into a cab. Whatever it is, it might be something as small as $5, $10, maybe even less. So Vodafone lends out this money and gets back 10% cut or something like that. And that is just in a couple of days. So you're talking about fees for micro transfers, fees for bigger transfers, international remissions as well. That's a massive industry as well. And it's kind of what Bitcoin has been trying to be. Yes. People try to value Bitcoin, first of all, using gold, but another way is for sending remissions. That has not been successful yet. No one has used Bitcoin or any other cryptocurrency to send money back home. There's all of this.
On mass, it hasn't been done, but individuals have certainly taken advantage of it. But yeah, there's not been a system in place where it's clear that large amounts of users are doing that.
Yes, definitely. On mass, it hasn't been done yet. That was Ripple's ethos for the longest time. It tried its best, but that didn't work as well. Again, there was that whole friction of onboarding users. So this could be really big. And once you get it to the point where users are tipping each other with crypto, they're sending it across borders, it could even get to a point where you don't even really need to convert it back to fiat. You know, you just need to get it to a point where there's this economy on Twitter, and users, as long as users are trading it, and as long as users know that it will be valuable in the future, at some point it gets to a stage where you don't even need to convert it back into fiat. You know, so this could be really big, and possibly the things it takes crypto to the masses, makes crypto usable by everybody. It could be really massive.
Well, because we are now got an element of trust going into a singular company here, and especially a singular man. Didn't want to mention it, but FTX was a company that was bringing the masses to it. They were definitely an easy way to onboard people into crypto. That didn't work out so well. So are we just putting another figurehead into the space who's going to onboard users, and now we've got to trust them? How is this kind of, meeting the crypto ethos of, trustless?
You're completely right. FTX might be a completely different case, but then unfortunately, I guess when it comes to onboarding users, at some point they do have to trust, because we don't have a system yet to allow them to manage their own crypto. So this is exactly the same thing with WeChat. I think it's the same thing with M-Pesa as well. So users do have it in their mobile devices, but then the problem is that really with WeChat, with M-Pesa, with FTX, this money will appear to be in the mobile devices, but then it really was held in a centralized place. So hopefully, however Twitter does this, hopefully this money ends up being controlled by the users in the user's mobile device. Hopefully the private key is in the mobile device, and it works flawlessly, so that whatever happens to Twitter in the future, the wallet survives. So I really do hope that is something that they look into, but that is an extremely important point. The money needs to be in control of the users. Right?
So it's going to come down to, to how much, Jack Dorsey and Elon Musk want the concept of decentralization to be. I could imagine implementing it from their side of things would be far easier to centralize it on the Twitter platform and then hold all the private keys. But I know Jack especially has talked about wanting to make it more decentralized. So maybe that is the vision. I hope it's certainly the vision, because that will allow onboarding of people into the decentralized world that we want. So, it's a case of, I think we've got to wait and see. Let's see what they do. I think, Elon is quite the figurehead, and he has a lot of, trust from many people. So it'll be interesting to see where he takes it. But yeah, I was just like, let's wait and see. Hopefully he does live up to the decentralized ethos, because if not, we're just setting ourselves up potentially for another big fall.
Indeed, it is a wait and see. Definitely an exciting project, and really let's see how it turns out. Let's hope it's implemented in a completely decentralized way. And I think the one thing that at least excites me is that it will probably bring crypto to the masses. And let's just hope Elon doesn't let us down.
I think that's the best takeaway for today. Hope this will bring the masses to crypto again, which is kind of what we need after such a bearish year. So yeah, we need the masses coming back. We need people excited about it again. Yeah, maybe Elon's going to be that one.
Indeed.
All right, well, thanks for your time, mate. Very interesting talk, mate. I'll catch you on the next one.
Fantastic. Until next time. Okay, we'll edit that out.